Well, we're back at it.
Another time, and it's going to be hard to distinguish this one because we're probably going to talk about tariffs at one point today.
Tariffs.
Yeah.
What's that? Who's talking about that?
Yeah, and it's one podcast to another, but it's happening again with forest fires, and there's tariff discussion one more time.
It's actually quite shocking what's going on right now. I do think it's a ploy. I do think it's negotiating tactics. I think cooler heads will prevail, hopefully.
I was just talking about this. I think sometimes it's easier when you're negotiating like that. You kind of throw something on the table that you're going to end up taking back later that was never there before. So it's like, oh, you know what? I'll take back the tariffs for the wildfires. And it's like, oh, great. Thank you very much. Yeah.
I did read that this, section of the act that they have brought to light is from pre-Second World War.
Oh, good. So it's timely.
Yeah, it's very timely,
it's
very
fresh.
useful, should really help the economy on both sides of the border. It's really good.
See that NASCAR event in Calabogie last weekend?
I know. It's very cool.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. It was
Pretty awesome. And I think we have something to celebrate today, don't we?
It's our 50th podcast today, our 50.
Wow.
I know.
It's been a journey.
It's amazing. We got a special guest here today on the whole Cavanagh and on that journey, and it's going to be a great conversation today.
It's pretty incredible when you look at what's happened. You've had, for what Cavanagh has done, and to think, how much they have implied the value of upside within this company that have engaged with is incredible.
It's incredible. And then going back to even NASCAR, I'll throw a shout out there. Jeff Cavanagh finished the race, I think 13th today, this on the weekend. So I know he did really well. So that's great.
No, it's fantastic. Well, our special guest today, if you haven't figured out, might be a Cavanagh family member. Sarah Cavanagh is an engagement manager at Cavtera, leading large-scale technology and process rollouts across the Thomas Cavanagh Construction Group of companies. Having transitioned from construction operations into technology, she brings an operations-first perspective to digital transformation. She works closely with operations, leadership, and development teams to drive an all-in Palantir Foundry rollout where workflows are unified, legacy systems are replaced, and other software must justify its existence. Responsible for achieving 97% user adoption across major rollouts, she is known for strong execution, practical implementation strategies, accelerating operational AI across construction operations. Welcome to the show, Sarah.
Welcome to the show, Sarah.
Guys. That was awesome. That was a good intro.
Yeah, it's amazing. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Well, it's an exciting time for you guys. So Corey and I were just talking before the show started about the impact this has had on where things are going. And it sounds like just this movement for Cavtera has moved the Palantir stock, I think it was 17% in one single day. And that's a big company.
Yeah.
So tell us about what's going on and why this is so exciting and why it makes that stock move like that.
Yeah. So Palantir Technologies is a company that we got involved with about 2 years ago. They approached us wanting to know if we wanted their services. At the time, I remember Jeff was very hesitant about it. He wasn't sure that this was right. Like, how could this huge technology company come into such a small little construction company in Ottawa? But he ended up buying into it, and I'm really grateful that he did because it's been an amazing experience. Getting to work with Palantir has been something that's going to, I think, change the construction landscape. It's they've just named it as one of their fastest growing markets within their company.
Is that right?
So more construction companies are coming online with Palantir, and I think it's going to create a really big advantage for them.
It's incredible.
Why do you think, it's not really that small of a construction company in the grand scheme of things from scale, right? But in saying that, why do you think they came north of the border?
I'm not sure why they did.
Did they think we were going to become the 51st state? Is that what's going on
they
there?
did, yeah. I'm not sure why they did, but I'm certainly glad that they did. We were just looking at some market statistics as well from construction in Canada versus the US. So our size of company in Canada, with the number of employees and the revenue that we do a year, it's actually only makes up for about 5% of the construction market in Canada. If you go down to the States, it actually makes up for about 60% of the landscape for this size of company or bigger. So there is a small market in Canada, but our main market is definitely going to be in the US, which is great. But I think that taking something like Palantir and putting it into Cavanagh Construction was probably the best thing we could have done. It puts us ahead. It makes us more competitive, gives us a better advantage, and we're using it to unify all of the systems that we had before. Which, in construction, it's very well known that there's disconnected, fragmented systems that don't talk to each other. Whether it's a phone call or it's a system that came from off the shelf, they don't talk to each other. So with Palantir, it puts everything into that one place where you can see everything and you can use your data for good. It goes all the way back to the estimators of how well the job did. Where did we lose money? How did we make money? Where was our good production? Where was our bad production? So it's huge. It's a major competitive advantage.
Numbers matter. Very data driven.
Yes.
So prior to the relationship with Cavanagh, maybe just we'll describe to the listener, what was Palantir actually doing, and who was their main target prior to their discussions with you?
Yeah, so most of their market is with government. So kind of gets a little bit of a bad rap sometimes, but everybody has a bad rap in different times. A lot of their market is also in healthcare. So looking at the hospitals down in the States and everything like that. Definitely not construction though.
No, definitely not construction. So what challenges do you think they had when they first walked in the door and they're saying, hey, we want to be a serious conversation with you all about what we can do and how we can help? What's that first challenge for them?
Well, it was understanding the construction lingo and how a construction company actually works. So that's where Cavtera really shines, is that we actually came from construction. So we have that background knowledge of how a construction company works, what a shovel is, what a dozer is. We don't have to spend that time explaining that to our developers because they've lived it. They've worked in that environment. So that breakthrough was huge. My coworker, Joe, when we did come online with Palantir, him and one of the other Palantir developers that was assigned to our file, they sat in a boardroom for about the first month of our engagement with them and just whiteboarded what construction meant and really broke down exactly how where the problems are and what we need to solve.
Sure. And that must be crucial. Like, obviously, if you don't understand that conversation, like having a bunch of, I'm going to say IT kind of geeky people trying to draft up a solution for a problem they don't really understand yet, that's problematic.
Yeah, and I think every company would have some of the reactions that I've seen to some construction companies that are thinking about Palantir is that they're scared of another ERP implementation because their previous ones have gone so poorly. Normally because they're driven by the shared services of the company, not the actual operations side. Right. So now with Palantir, we're truly building an operations first platform. So it's built based on the opinions of the guys out in the field, the guys that are actually down in the trenches, digging the holes and putting the pipe in. Their feedback is what has built our system today.
So clearly it works on the leadership side. You must get challenges in the trenches. Like when, the average person who's been working in construction for 15, 20 years and they're hardened to this. They do this every single day. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden they start hearing about, oh, great, this company that I've been working for now wants to adopt this new system. This is going to make things better.
Yeah.
There must be immediate resistance.
So I like to tell any potential clients that we're meeting with that normally the biggest challenge with all of this is people, obviously. And it's the change management and how you handle the communication around all of that to make sure that your people feel heard, they feel comfortable, they feel involved. That's all people want, right? So when we first rolled out our first tool, Cavanagh Connect, which is our time carding app, it affected every single person in the company. So we trained 1,200 employees in about 6 weeks, I think it was, on this app. And when we're going out to the field, we're meeting with these guys who maybe have a flip phone, or their wife has their phone because they share a phone, or they live in the country and they don't have any service. Like, you're coming to them with a foreign language, basically. So we really wanted to make sure that we tailored their experience to who they were. So we specifically made an effort to go out to the field and sit with them and train them and make sure you got your password, you've got your username, you know how to download the app, you know where to go and who to call. That's what was most important about our rollouts that we did.
And how do you feel like, how long are we since inception of implementing? How long has it been now? A year?
We started with Palantir 2 years ago, but we really started heavy implementation last summer. And from there, it was just kind of a roller coaster of more implementations. So now what we have done is we've made an effort to give the guys in the field a break for this summer. Cavanagh Construction specifically is seeing an increase in work volume, which is fantastic because you think about the market sometimes and you think maybe it's dwindling a bit or whatever, but at Cavanagh Construction it is not. It's actually picked up and it's multiplied, which is great, but we need to give our guys time to just do what they know what to do.
Right. And what would you say in terms of bottom line improvement as a percentage, like in terms of, implementing what you guys have done? Like, what is that approximate number?
I don't know what the number is. I remember when we first started talking about AI and Palantir, everybody gets scared of the word AI or artificial intelligence or however you want to say it, because in a lot of news and articles and stuff, you hear about how it's taking jobs away. And that was my perception of things when we first started with this. But I actually learned over time. We had an executive quarterly meeting last November, I think it was, and we did an exercise in that meeting with all the leaders of Cavanagh Construction where we talked about where we could be more efficient in the company. And Jeff sat there and he was listening to everyone's inputs. And he actually mentioned that he thought the theme of that meeting was raising the floor. So we were raising the floor of our employees to do better with what they have and do more work with the same amount of people instead of actually like getting rid of people. We don't need to get rid of people. We have good people that we want to keep. Mm-hmm. We just want them doing more and doing the things that they enjoy doing, not paperwork.
More efficient.
Yes. Yeah.
And do you have experience, or have you seen this where clearly that person who's pushed back on this at the beginning and you've helped, transform them from unknown to now knowing how to use the systems, mm-hmm. where they start seeing success, where they say, oh, this makes sense?
Yeah, I think that we saw that a lot with the paper time cards specifically. The guys were very hesitant to let go of that piece of paper, which is crazy to think because it's a piece of paper, but it held a lot of information for those people and making sure that they got paid and everything like that. So when we moved over to the digital time carding, I think that people really bought into it because they saw that it worked. They weren't having to write up their paper time card, hand it to their foreman and hoping that it made it to the office or it didn't get stuck in between the foreman's seat and the truck. Now they're able to see the status of their time card within their app. They're able to see if it did get stuck somewhere in the payroll process, what day it was, and they can reach out to payroll and say, I didn't get paid for this day or whatever it was because my foreman didn't approve it, my manager didn't, or maybe I just forgot to submit my time card. So definitely value in that.
And clearly companies are wanting, that's important. I mean, don't run a construction company. I'm assuming if you do, you want to be able to scale. You want to take what you have today and you want to grow your practice and grow your business. And I'm assuming that when you start seeing these kind of operations efficiencies, that suddenly makes it easier to say, great, we're going to add more crews.
Yeah.
We're going to have more people on the road. We're going to get bigger jobs.
Mm-hmm, for sure. It's been cool watching the people. I'll talk about Brendan Steele specifically. I know you know him. He's very passionate about his asphalt schedule, but he was one of the first adopters moving into Palantir completely to do all of the asphalt scheduling for 3 mainline crews. If we think about that, 5 years ago when I started with Brendan as his coordinator, we would go to asphalt schedule meetings, and they used to have it on a piece of paper with a pencil, trying to schedule 3 mainline crews for like millions of dollars worth of work. So now he's got a tool that he can move so easily, and everyone sees those live updates as they're happening. It's huge.
And for the listeners, like when they hear, a crew, like how many people are we talking about in a crew? Like what, just to give context for somebody that's not familiar, like what does that mean in terms of number of bodies working, like hours worked, all of that? Like what does that actually mean for a listener?
Yeah. So, I mean, a crew can vary from, 2 to 3 people all the way up to sometimes like 12 or 15 if you include the flaggers that are on the crew as well. So scheduling 3 paving crews, on average, let's say it's about 12 people. So there's 3 crews of 12 people that you're trying to manage. There's also the actual contractors that you're trying to make sure that you are meeting their deadlines as well, which is super critical. Obviously, you don't want to get hit with liquid damages. So for them to be able to schedule so efficiently is so important in this time.
And what would you say in terms of time recaptured? Like, what would be your average number of hours that's recaptured there?
It's hard to tell. We have tried to do some calculations on like ROI and manual process hours and everything like that. It's hard to tell because there was a natural shift between people doing these manual processes before, and then they're shifting into these new roles or processes that they're doing because of the technology or because they were upskilled and now they're doing something different with their time. It's hard to tell.
Right.
It's hard to put a number to it.
Right.
And clearly construction itself, like I know in finance, our industry is changing really rapidly. The last 10 years, how finance used to be delivered and what it is today is completely different. And I feel like when I watch the construction sector, it's also in a big state of change right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like how construction companies were run 10 years ago are going to be much different than how they're going to be run 10 years from today. Would that be fair?
Totally. Even in my time at Cavanagh Construction, I've seen a complete shift in leadership in our project managers and our coordinators. Like it's not the same that it was 5 years ago. And our market is really changing too. And that's one thing that Cavanagh Construction does extremely well is adapt to the market changes. In the last couple of years, especially with COVID, obviously housing went through the roof, but then there was a stall on it. So there's not as much residential work, which is kind of our bread and butter before. Now there's the downtown integrated jobs that are huge money and they're coming up everywhere. So we've been able to shift and adapt to that market so that we can do that work and do it well. So bringing in those new people and those new leaders has allowed us to do that as well, which has been really cool to see.
So when you're presenting on this, on your solutions that you have now, are these the same kind of conversations you're experiencing from no matter where the construction company is geographically? It's all very similar pain points or somewhat different, similar in the sense that they all experience the same kind of growth issues?
Yeah, and I was saying this earlier, but all of my life I've only been at Cavanagh Construction. That's the only thing I know. I'm not going to go to another construction company in Ottawa and ask you what's your biggest problem. They're not going to tell me the answer to that. They don't want to say it. So with Cavtera and having external clients now in the same industry, it's been an opportunity for me to actually work with those clients and get some context of what other construction companies go through. And what I learned very quickly is that everyone goes through the same problems, which is reassuring to let me know, maybe we're not so bad.
Right.
Everyone's doing the same thing. It's manual processes, it's paper, it's siloed divisions, it's siloed companies. It's trying to bring those things together to just be more efficient and get a better competitive advantage, especially when you're bidding now, because everything is so tight.
And if you're a construction company and you're listening to the show today, like, what's your pitch to them? What's your aha moment in a boardroom where they say, we need to implement, we need to do this? Like, is it based on, is it a subscription model? Like, what does it look like for XYZ construction company if they're like, we need to have a discussion?
Like today,
this.
we need more of this.
Yeah. Well, my first thing that I would say is go buy Palantir. That is the thing to do. That is the number one system for construction that you can implement in your company, I think. But in terms of Cavtera, what we like to say we do is we offer services. We don't do software implementation. And with our services, what we like to say we do is we untangle the complex business processes that have evolved over time within businesses. And it's not just, heavy civil construction. It's mining, it's general contracting, it's the manufacturing side of things like that. They're all the same at the end of the day. They have work and they do work with people and equipment and materials. And that's the same anywhere you go. So that is what Palantir allows you to do, is just simplify things, break it down to the simplest thing possible. What do you do and what do you do it with? And then build your own custom built programs to fit your company instead of buying an off the shelf piece of software that says it's industry standard, but everyone knows it's not, because industry standard is different everywhere you go.
Right.
A little bit of lies.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of lies. A lot of lies out
So
there.
you made a big jump going from the operations side specifically to now in this, this more tech forward, solutions based. So you scared at all making that jump?
Yeah, it felt weird. I never would have, I don't think any of us would have ever imagined that Cavanagh Construction would be aiming to be the most technologically advanced construction company in the world. I don't think anyone would have said that. Very strong at innovation and coming up with new ways of doing work, but not necessarily in the tech world. So when this opportunity came up, I definitely had my hesitations about it, but I saw how powerful it was and what it was going to do, and I really believe in it. So it was a good shift, but it was definitely scary.
Who's been a big mentor for you in your life when you've had to make these really critical type of decisions?
Yeah. I mean, I have two coworkers, Joe Patois and Ryan Quinnell. I think I've worked with Ryan for about 5 years now. When I started back in the project management stream of construction, he was a project manager, and I'd like to think that he saw something in me. So he kind of took me under his wing. And then as his position evolved into, kind of a business development strategist and everything like that, I followed him, and I think that anywhere he goes, everything turns to gold. So when all of this came up, Ryan and Joe were very heavily involved in influencing Jeff to make the buy decision for Palantir. They believe that this is what we should do. And Ryan has just been a very strong mentor for me, not just in work, but in, personal life too. He's been an ear when I just need to talk about something, or if I'm frustrated at work, or if someone pissed me off.
Never happened. Never happened.
And Joe, on the other side of things, he's been a very strong mentor to me, I would say in the last 2 years specifically, because Joe is our chief vision and product officer, and he is a true visionary. He is the guy that's like, we are going to be the best construction company in the world, and here's how we're going to do it. So kind of working by his side, I've been able to learn a lot about, well, maybe that's not the right way to do it. Just because we did it for 20 years that way doesn't mean it's the way to do it going forward.
Yeah.
So that's been really powerful.
Just because the box has gone there for 20 years doesn't have to mean the box doesn't have to keep going there.
Yes.
Yeah. What's the best piece of advice that one of your mentors or a parent has given you?
I always go back to this one. I met with a woman. She actually works for Tomlinson. We were just kind of talking about women in the industry one day. And one piece of advice that she gave to me was, no matter what position you're in, always be sure to make a point to talk to those in those positions that you came up in. So making sure that you're making time for the people that, even though maybe one day you're a vice president or a chief whatever of whatever company, you're still talking to those people that you were in that same position, because they value your opinion and your thoughts on how to get where you were. So that always sticks with me.
How hard has it been for you to have Cavanagh as a name? I mean, clearly you're not the only one that's in the company that comes from a great family, but how difficult is that journey?
I think it was challenging at times, finding my footing and, I always feel like I need to prove myself 10 times harder than anybody else there because of my last name. And I don't know that that's necessarily true, but that's what I think in my head. So I feel like I always try and go out of my way to make sure that I'm doing everything that I'm being asked and doing it well. I think now I'm at a point in my career where I feel established and I feel like people don't just think I'm there because of who I am. And I think I've found my way, which is something that I wasn't sure I was going to find at Cavanagh Construction 5 years ago.
Right. Good for you.
Yeah.
Well, that's a big deal, right? To be part of that family and to grow and evolve and to have the mindset that you've got to do better than the average person, is awesome, because a lot of the times in the world, it's not the case.
Yes.
right? So
Yeah.
it's refreshing to hear that, and so that's amazing.
Yeah. And I think that, like, the last name just comes with experience, and that's all I can grow from, right? I have all of this experience backing me, so use it to go forward.
Hmm. Amazing.
There's going to be someone listening to this, or an owner maybe, that even though we've been talking about this for quite some time on this podcast already, they're going to say this is complete garbage. Like AI, we've been doing this. How can they possibly say this? I've been running this company for 30 years. My dad ran the company before me, and my grandfather ran the company before him. We're not going to change the way we do things. What are they missing?
I think that I've seen it. There's a group of people that you go in and you talk to them and they're like, they get it. And then there's the other group of them that just don't yet. And I think they're just not there yet. But once they see it, then they'll believe it. And I think a lot of construction is that they have to see it to believe it. And we learned that with our implementations as well. The guys aren't just going to believe something that you show them on a piece of paper. Oh, we bought Palantir. Okay, great. What is that going to do for me? You have to actually build it and show it to them to make them believe it.
And would you say from a generations or demographic, is it more gray hair that have resistant than not, or
It depends where you go, I
depends,
think.
yeah.
It was funny out in the field when we were bringing some of these workflows out to them. There was a crew, I remember, where there was majority of them were young guys, and they had zero interest in being on the app or getting the app. They were like, no, I'm not going to use it. Like, I don't have Wi-Fi at my house. I go fishing and hunting every weekend. Why would I bother with this,
Right.
And then there's the old guy on the crew, and he's like, perfect, I'll get this. This is easier than paper.
Amazing.
But it really varies. And then, we had our fleet drivers, our truck drivers. I would say they're probably the oldest demographic in our company. But they were so excited to get it, and they thought it was cool, and they thought it was interesting, and they were all for it to get it on their iPads or their phones or whatever, and they use it every day now. So
It's quite interesting how the world has evolved with people in terms of their adoption to technology, right? Because it was always perceived that if you're old, you're not going to touch it. You can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Yeah.
And I do find, if we were using Cavanagh as an example, like, it is so diverse in terms of technology adoption. It's quite shocking,
Yeah.
if we get a phone call from an operator talking about benefits, pension, all that good stuff, right? It's quite interesting, as you alluded to, that, some are like right on the ball, and and you don't even expect them to be that on the ball with technology, versus the other guy that's 40,
Yeah.
and he's like,
Doesn't see
as
anybody.
far off the grid as I could possibly get. It's so it's so big in terms of difference of experiences,
Yeah.
right? Like, I can't get over it. Yeah.
One really cool thing that came of this whole experience with Palantir is we actually found a subsection of people within our company that are coders or technology forward
Really?
people. Yeah, we actually I have a guy that I work with. He's a developer, and he was a grading foreman, and he was
Wow.
out in the field. And I think if we never went down this road with Palantir, we probably would have never known his other set of skills.
It's amazing.
And we just would have, assumed that he's a grading foreman. But he does fantastic work. He's a very innovative thinker. So it's great to have him on our team. And he came out of the woodwork from this experience.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Imagine the talk of that day, be like, well, actually, I am a coder.
So we rolled out our app, our Cavanagh Connect app, and he hacked it. And he sent us all these things that we did wrong and that
Oh,
we
wow.
should fix. And that's how we were like, well, who are you?
Wow.
So that was cool.
007
Yeah.
of the grading crew.
Yeah.
So I think we're talking in your bio about 97% rollout. So why do you feel that's happening at that kind of rate? Why are you so successful there?
I think it's because we have the engagement managers on our team. So the job that I did, or I do right now, we came out of construction, so we can speak their language. We're not coming in talking about tech only. And also, we approached every rollout that we did differently. So for Cavanagh Connect specifically, we wanted to go out to the field. So we packed up a pickup truck and We had a TV on the back of the tailgate with the presentation for the whole app and everything like that. And we had everyone gather around the back of the tailgate, and we showed them how to use it. And we made sure everyone knew how to log in and had their password and their username and everything. But then for something like Site 360, which is our field time capture app, so that's where the foreman actually creates the report of all the labor and equipment that needed to be allocated that day. That one specifically, we made sure that, okay, are there groups of foremen that maybe need more one-on-one time? So we would go out and see them one-on-one in their site trailer. Or are there groups of foremen that are a little bit more tech savvy and could probably do it together and can bounce ideas off each other of how to do it better? And then also going back to just going out to them. It's so much of a pain to pull a foreman or a whole crew out of the field. You say it's for an hour, but it's for 2 because you got to get them to the office, you got to do the training, and then you got to send them back out and get them restarted. It's such an interruption to operations. So we wanted to make sure we didn't do that. And I feel like because we tailored to them and we made sure that they were the key users that we were thinking about, that's why they adopted it.
And as you start seeing other competitors in the North American market start adopting systems like this, there may be other competitors that come out with similar solutions.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like that really confirms the direction that Cavtera has?
Yes.
Or does it add pressure to you? And if not, then where do you think you stand?
I think we've really got something here, and it's there's a hole in the market for it. Like I said before, Palantir is saying that their fastest growing section of their market is construction right now because they are specifically targeting construction companies, which is unique because you would never really think that. So in the States, there's a very large uptake of adopters, and I think they're onto something.
Wow.
Yeah.
So if the market's shifting that fast and Palantir is reporting that, like to me, that would mean, as an outsider, that would mean that if you're a construction company, you know the whole industry is in a massive state of change. So if you're not making the change,
You're falling behind.
You're way behind.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that, there's a local construction company that just actually went out of business earlier this year. And I went and met with their former CFO, and she was just saying that they just didn't have the ability to change the way that the market, or at the pace that the market was changing. So that's ultimately why they had to close their doors, which is terrible. You don't want that to happen to people. But I think that we have to be innovative with the way we're doing things. Construction got us this far at the way that we're doing it, but there's got to be a different way to do it in the future to get us even further. There's a graph that we showed, I think, at our launch party, and it's showing the productivity rates in construction labor versus, farming labor in the last, I think it was like 50 years or something. Construction's labor productivity has actually gone down. It's almost one of the only markets that the productivity of their labor force has gone down in the last 50 years. So how do we make that better?
Sure.
Yeah.
What would you say, or, for the listeners, what's the difference between Palantir and Palantir Foundry?
So Palantir Foundry is just the platform that you actually get for it. There's 2 different types of licenses that you can get with Palantir as well. So it just depends on the license that you get to the level of access that you get on the Foundry platform. I didn't quite understand what Palantir was when they came to us. And now I've seen it, and we have a saying that, every other software must justify its existence. We say that because when we got Palantir, we were like, great, this is something we can plug all of our existing softwares into, and we can get all the data in one place. We very quickly realized that the connection points between those other softwares and Palantir just wasn't going to work. So now we're like, okay, let's take these offline completely and just work in Palantir.
Right.
So how does having one source of truth that you discussed before help leadership make decisions, not just an efficiency, but an actual direction?
Well, the first example that comes to mind is our payroll policy. We just updated it earlier this year. And we actually did that because by putting all of our time cards and reports digitally into Palantir, instead of paper in the boxes in our basement of our office in Ashton, leaders were actually able to use tools within Palantir to find out, what the labor force was doing with their time. So one of the statistics that we specifically looked at was how many people are taking a lunch break. And Jeff didn't believe that, majority of the company wasn't taking a lunch break, or they were and they weren't recording it. And we used Palantir to look at all that data from like 600 employees over the past 3 months and look at their time cards and say 84% of people are not marking that they took a lunch. So we use that statistic to shape our payroll policy, and with other things too, with the night shift and everything like that. And ultimately what happened was we simplified the payroll policy. There were all these different kind of exceptions or weird things that, the average person isn't going to know because they're not looking at the payroll policy every day. Right. So we took that, simplified it, and made it true to how people operate.
Great.
84% not taking their lunch break or not recording it or not. What would be the catalyst for one to do that in a business that's not their own, that they want to not use that time for themselves? Like, what was the catalyst behind that?
I think it just goes back to scalability. In the last 15 years, Cavanagh Construction has grown exponentially, and we didn't necessarily teach the payroll policy to our employees, or, things shift over time and people make exceptions as they go, which is fine. That happens. It's morphing into itself. But scalability, we weren't able to take that data from those time cards that are sitting in the boxes in the basement of our office in Ashton and understand how many people are taking a lunch. We couldn't do that before. It would be really hard. It would take a lot of manual work. So now with Palantir, we're able to do it very quickly and see it and make that change quickly as well.
And are you seeing by, I'm not going to say forcing, but promoting that you need to take a lunch break?
Yeah, it was, we're promoting it, definitely. It's still something, it's change management, right? It's people. Yep. So it's going to take time. It's going to take changing, the way that a manager talks to their employee about their lunch. It's that practice that it takes to get to the result that we want.
And are you seeing, the added health benefits for people to actually take a break, to maybe put some food in your mouth?
Yeah. Look at the weather. We just had a heat wave of like 45 degrees. You can't sustainably work in that heat and not take a lunch break. You have to take a break. It's important. And, same within the cold. You don't want to work all through the day in the freezing cold, in the snow, in the ice. Yep. Go take a lunch break, eat your lunch,
I'd imagine it becomes really integral into just a culture.
Yes, that's it.
Like that's what I've even noticed myself, on our team, is that I'll work through a lunch too many times, and then when I actually spend time to disconnect and actually go and sit with people and you sit down and have a chat, it's like, oh man, that was super awesome. It was refreshing. Get to hear about someone's week or weekend, have a bite, go back to work again. But I feel that changes the culture.
Yeah, definitely. And, we're not doing it to, be enforcers. We're doing it because it's a good practice to do. Just like you said, it's important for your health. It's important for your mental health during the day. You're in construction. You're working a long day. They're long hours. Take a break and just, reset, and you'll probably get more productivity.
I think it's true. I think a lot of people think that everyone's invincible, right? But on any team, there is like mental health issues lurking on every team, whether it's the fire department, police department, construction, finance. Yeah. So it's really, you want to catch those way before they become significant issues. And that happens through, camaraderie, a family environment, teamwork.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you need to put gas in the tank.
Yeah.
We find like Sean just started letting me take lunch breaks last week. So it's been,
congratulations.
It's been good. It's been good. It's been a couple years.
Is it working out for you?
I'm feeling like this, last week's been a lot better for me. I seem to be sleeping better. I have less anxiety and stuff. So it really is showing up.
I'm becoming nicer to work with as I age.
It's actually incredible how far you've come. No, but in all honesty, it's, we've even within our own company, we have started to make sure that we have breakfast food in the fridge and smoothies and, because you think that by pushing through, by,
Hmm.
pedal to the metal at all time, that you're going to give your best. It's impossible.
Yeah.
It's been proven again and again that you must take a break, that you
Hmm.
need to regroup, that you need to eat, that maybe drink some water, maybe
Yeah.
all that
Something.
stuff, right? Something.
That was something that I kind of noticed a difference in with working with a development team too, is in the tech world, their offices are fitted up so that they have, snacks and drinks available to them so that they don't feel like they need to go leave the office to get something to eat or get a snack. You have that provided for them so that it kind of feels like more of a community, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's something that we saw a shift in when we started hiring all these developers is, we want to make sure that they feel comfortable in the space. So our new office that we just moved into in April on March Road, it is fully equipped with all the snacks and energy drinks and,
Yeah, great.
all the stuff that they like so that they feel comfortable and they want to keep working. But we still, make sure to prioritize that it's not just about work.
It's so crazy as humans, like we've gotten as efficient as we've gotten, we're actually working harder and longer all the time. And, even my watch tells me take a break.
Yeah.
My phone tells me it's time to take a break. Like my car even tells me, I think on the dash, you should actually pull over, take a break. So there's lots of breaks being offered, but we just don't take them as much as we should. So really kind of have to get better at saying, you know what, like you said, time for lunch, time to go home. We need to be better at that.
Well, I just realized you must have turned that feature off on my phone. I don't get any.
Oh, no.
I don't get any of those notifications.
That's why I gave you a BlackBerry.
Yeah.
You didn't have that.
It's just a flip phone. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll like it. It's no key.
It's
It's
great.
really
It's
good.
great.
So
It's
it's a
great.
hot one.
Working good. Yeah.
How scalable is this? Because we've been talking a lot about this is fantastic and how it's going to shape for a lot of different construction companies. Can the solution help companies that are 50 people, and can it help people that have companies that are 10,000 people? Like
Definitely. I mean, it all comes down to money and cost of what you want to do, right? Palantir is known to be on the more expensive side, but I do really, truly believe that it is an investment that you make not only in the software, but in bettering your business processes and creating more efficiencies and ultimately creating a better quality of life for your people at your company as well.
Okay.
We've seen different sizes of companies we've talked to. Some of them are upwards of, like you said, 10,000 people, and other ones are more, between 500 and 700 people.
Okay.
But it seems to be attractive no matter the size. So
Great. Scalable.
yeah,
That's great. It's a great solution.
yeah.
How has the merger of operations and developers been? Like that has to be interesting because those are very different people coming to the table.
Yeah. It was really strange, I guess. I was so used to working with construction workers, obviously. Sometimes are a little crude and, they like to work out in the dirt and the heat and, get their hands dirty or whatever. But, the developers, they also enjoy working really long hours, but they sit at a desk and it's just totally different environment. But it's kind of fun with the development team. They're super young and they're full of energy. I think the oldest guy on our team is maybe in his 50s and he's like outnumbered by, 10 to 1. Right. I sometimes even feel old and I'm only 27. So that's, something to say for that. Whereas when you're working with the construction companies, a lot of them the majority of the demographic would be in their 40s to 60s. So totally different people, but both very fun. I like them. Right. Yeah.
So it sounds like you're a little apprehensive making this jump. We've talked a lot about great things that you've done. Looking back since the change, have you changed your mind about any one thing that maybe you thought differently about before?
The first thing that comes to mind is I remember I was very self-conscious about the fact that I've worked here since I was 15 years old. And when I started as a flagger out in the field. And then I kind of worked my way through different departments. I worked for my dad in the garage. That didn't work out very well. He told me I couldn't work for him again. So, I worked in the body shop doing some administration. And then I went to school. I came back. I worked in our concrete division, learned a ton about concrete, which was really cool. Then moved back over to construction and made my way through the project management stream as a project admin and then a coordinator in both construction and asphalt. And at the end of it, I was like, I just don't know where my place is. And I don't feel great about the fact that I just don't have that one place that I fit in. But with this experience with Palantir and this whole new company of Cavtera, I'm actually extremely grateful for the fact that I saw so much and I got to do so much in different departments, because I better understand the business and I don't have to go into a department and relearn everything. I mean, I do with some departments, obviously, but I've got a pretty good footing on most of them. So that helped me in the long run.
Oh, you've done a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. You've done a lot of experiences.
Yeah.
So what would you tell? There's going to be someone right now who's 15 or 16, working as a flagger, a young woman who's looking at you thinking, wow, I want to be a leader like that. What would you tell that person?
Do as much as you can and, meet as many people and listen to everybody. And also don't say no to anything. Just say yes and ask lots of questions, because I think that's kind of what I tried to do to get where I am is, somebody asks me to do this one-off project that maybe isn't really in my job description, but I'm going to say yes because I'm probably going to learn something from it. And I'm going to learn lots of answers to my questions as I go and get to work with other people.
And I think, talking about starting where you did, right? Like, I think for some of the younger generation period, they want to get to the top
as fast as they can.
as fast as they can, and not realizing that time passes really effing quick, and that you do really need to start
At the bottom. Yeah.
and graduate and work your way through and understand why that job that you might not like, standing on the road flipping a flag back and forth, why that might lead to something else, right? And I think that gets lost a lot on the younger generations. And I know we've talked about generations a bunch, and we're really starting to show our age because we are bringing it up.
Get off my lawn.
It's so bad. But it's refreshing to hear for somebody that is under the age of 30, the path that you've taken, right? And kudos to you for doing that. And it's nice to hear that, starting at the bottom has rewards long term if you stick with it.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people get super bored, unfulfilled at some of these mundane positions and not see that, okay, if I just put a little bit more time in, things will change.
Yeah. And I mean, I think a lot, like going back to like being bored at your position, I think part of that is actually what drove me to change so much, because you just kind of get in the routine of doing something and it's boring.
Yeah.
I find with my job that I'm doing now, it's something different every day. You're working on something new. You're working with new clients. You're whiteboarding new ideas and, coming up with new things. Also within, we're a startup company, if you want to call it that. And within a startup company, you're lacking a lot of those positions that a bigger firm would have. So now you've got to fill those spaces. So I've been lucky in that, where I've kind of gotten to put different hats on, even in this new role, which is kind of cool. It's experience at the end of the day. So
this is a great, here we are, 50th episode, amazing conversation. If you're looking forward the next 5 years, describe to me what you think Cavtera is going to look like.
I think we're going to be huge. We're already about halfway to our goal for what we want to have on the books for this year, and we're only 2 months in.
Wow.
So I think that, get in while you can, because I think it's gonna explode. And I think that there's going to be a huge shift in technology and construction with Palantir, and that's the way to go.
Amazing.
Well, with that being said,
Amazing.
It's pretty incredible, and we're thankful that you took the time to join us today.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
Incredible story, and it's not going away, right? Like, this is going to continue to evolve and become better and better and more out there and more visible to everyone. And so it's congratulations
Thank
on
you.
the early success.
Really great having you on, Sarah. You're a great leader in the space. You shared a lot. I've learned a lot today, and I really appreciate you sharing that story.
Thanks. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Sarah.